Just imagine soaring through the skies, capturing breathtaking footage, and the only thing you need to think about is where you're going to fly next, not what camera settings you should be using. Sound too good to be true? Well, I thought so too, until I discovered it wasn't. Your new DJI Avata 2 has got some properly sorted bits of kit in it, not least the little camera on the front, which, if you leave it in full auto, is going to have your back no matter the situation. However, there are a couple of things that we should do first to set this thing up so that we never have to worry about it again. If you're ready, I'm going to show you exactly what I've done. So stick around as I take you through the auto settings that I use, which mean I can literally just be flying around, hit that record button and not have to worry about whether I'm going to get good footage or not. There is a danger of getting bogged down in too much detail with these things, and that can mean missing the shot that you wanted to capture on the spur of the moment, and that is going to be frustrating at best. So how do we solve this problem then? Well, I am a big believer in letting the camera, in this case the drone, doing the heavy lifting. Let this thing do the hard work for us. Modern cameras and drones are set so that even an idiot can get decent footage, and I know that because I can get decent footage. These things are extremely clever and can adapt on the fly, meaning that we don't have to. We can just concentrate on the fly bit. The camera's doing everything else for us. We're not creating a Michael Bay masterpiece to put up on the big screen. Well, I'm assuming you're not. We're probably just chasing the cat around and then posting that video to the MySpace page. So how do we do this then? Well, let me take you through exactly what I've got set up, and I'm not saying this is the perfect solution. This is just how I do it. You may find some other things are better for you, but this is how I run it so that I can be out ripping along the beach just for fun and capture some seagulls flying around right the way through to doing paid client work, which is actually what this thing's doing for me now more and more. And I don't have to touch anything, and it's already set. Simple. Okay, so to best set this thing up, we've got to go into the goggles because that's where we access all the menu options. So we're just going to pull those down, and I'm going to hit record on the button to make sure you get to see everything as well. So we're going to scroll into the menu, pop that out, down to settings. Camera, this is how I have it set up. I have it set at 16:9. Video quality, 4K 60 frames per second, because it records at 4K, so why would you not? And 60 frames per second, well, in my experience of using this last couple of months, if you have that frame rate set lower than that, the image coming through the goggles can be a little bit jittery, is the best description I can think of, so I set it at 60. Now I know for the purists out there, you're going to be like, Tim, what about that motion blur and stuff like that? Well, we're not getting into that detail. That's complicated. We want run and gun stuff. So back in we go. Video quality, 4K 60. Camera field of view for me, I use wide, but you can set this to ultra wide or normal depending on your personal preference. I'll explain why I have mine set to wide in a minute. Stabilization off. Again, you can have it on, built in, rock steady I think it's called, or you can have horizon level. Me, I have it off, but there's a reason why. I'll come to that as well in a second. Then we go down and we set the ISO limit. I've got mine set to a maximum of 800. I've been playing around with 800 or 1600. I haven't really found my preference yet, but if we go with 800, that just seems to work best for the minute for both indoors and outdoors. Grid lines, off. You can turn them on, have a full grid and a triangle, or you can have them off. I have them off. I find them a little bit distracting. The center point I have on, because I can use it as a point to aim at. So if I'm flying through a window on a property tour or something like that, I'm aiming to fly through the center of the window. It just gives me a point of reference, but doesn't get too far in the way. Storage, internal storage, wicked little thing that is. Format, we don't want to format the SD card. Right, advanced camera settings, here we go. So I've obviously got this to set to record with the goggles only because that's what I'm doing. Auto record on takeoff, no, I decide when I want to press record. Color profile here, so I have this set to D-Log-M, the 10-bit one, because I like to do a few bits after the fact. However, you could just set this to normal. I promise you, the normal color profile is absolutely fine for pretty much everything going, and I'm not being funny, it's unlikely that the majority of us would even think about whether someone was using a normal color profile or not when watching here or on social media platforms. So if you want to remove a step once you've recorded everything, set it to normal. You don't need to worry about it. Okay, back on then. Color display assistant, again, I have this set on because I'm recording in D-Log M, but if you're in the normal color profile, you don't need to worry about that. Sharpness and noise reduction. Set these down to -2. These are digital image enhancement systems, and it, certainly to my old eyes, can make the image look digitally enhanced a little bit, and I don't like that, so I set those down to -2 for both. I do the same thing for my Action 5 Pro. I do the same thing on this that I'm talking to you now, the Osmo Pocket 3. They're all pulled down as low as I can get them because it just looks a little bit off to me. So again, personal preference. So set those two down. Auto flicker, anti-flicker, I have that set to auto. Client property tours, commercial spaces that I fly through sometimes. I've got one coming up very soon. I can never trust or know what type of lighting they've got in there. So if I have the auto flicker, the anti-flicker set to auto, that's a lot of words, then I don't need to think about it. The drone will fly in, the camera will pick up on it, and it will adjust to it to get rid of any flicker, which is a brilliant little tool. Video subtitles, don't worry with those. And then we're back to the beginning, so just pulling back. Okay, next step then, and then we're done with this setup process. We're going to go back into the goggles and we're going to pull up from the bottom, and we're going to make sure that we are in auto mode. ISO we've already set. Our shutter speed should be set to auto because we're in auto mode. The EV, exposure value, we're going to set that to -0.3. Our white balance is set to auto. Aspect ratio we've already done. Video quality we've already done. Camera field of view we've already done. Our auto ISO limit we've already set. Recording stabilization is off. And our color profile D-Log M or normal, depending on whichever one you want to use. Color display assist, I have that switched on. And that is it. Right, get those off my head now because it's actually pretty warm in here. So why do I have the image field of view set to wide, and why do I have the built-in image stabilization deactivated? Very simply, I use a third-party piece of software called gyroflow, which I've just started using. I was using the built-in stuff, but I've started using this because I can get a wide field of view when I'm doing property tours and lock the horizon. So even though I might be moving quite slowly through a property, there can still be some tilting and things as I move. As I'm moving the drone around, I could be tilting bits and pieces, and I want to get rid of that. If you use the built-in horizon leveling, you have to have a normal field of view. You can't use wide. I want that wider field of view to give me as much as I can get, but I also want to be able to lock off the horizon, so I use third-party software to do that, gyroflow. In order to import the footage into gyroflow, I need to record in wide and have image stabilization turned off. So from the business side of things, that is why I have those settings set up. If I wasn't using this for business purposes as well as pure personal enjoyment, I would just use the built-in stuff because again, it's removing a step from the process. Remember, the whole idea is to set this thing up so that it will do the hard work for you, so that you can just be out flying, enjoying yourself, see something, hit record, do what you need to do, come back, download the footage to your Mac, and it looks ace. Okay, an additional thing we should probably think about is carrying an SD card, making sure we've got enough memory to capture whatever it is we want to capture. Well, again, DJI have thought of it. This thing's got your back, albeit there is an SD card slot. You don't need to use it. It's got built-in storage, 46 gigabytes of built-in storage. And at the settings that I've just run through with you, should give you around 50 minutes worth of recording time. And I don't know what you're doing that you need more than 50 minutes of recording time in one go, because even if you have the extra batteries, you get 3 batteries, you're still probably not going to get 50 minutes worth of flight time. You might be able to push close to it, but there we go. So built-in storage, they've got you covered. You don't need to worry about that. All right, so once all of this is done, just get out there and fly, safe in the knowledge that you've done everything you need to do and your run and gun settings are set just so. Get out there, fly, enjoy yourself, hit record every now and then, capture some stuff, share it to friends and family. Don't scare the cat too much. Now, obviously, if you have the time or planning, again, client shoots maybe, and you're going to be setting something up for a specific shot and you want a certain look, then yes, absolutely. ND filters, manual camera settings, double frame rates to get natural motion blur, locking off white balance and all that kind of fancy stuff that many other people talk about so that you could get the perfect cinematic look. Then if you've got the time and planning to do that, then absolutely do that. But for the majority of us, me included, fly for fun, got it set up so that I can do that and then cover the business stuff as well. Okay, that's enough chat from me. Watch this video next where I'm going to talk you through some hidden features of the Avata 2 that will hopefully help you to get the most out of your new toy. All right, as ever, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.